Imagine a queen draped in the finest silk walking gracefully through the grand halls of a palace. Her gown, cascading in layers of velvet and lace, glistens in the candlelight, capturing the attention of every noble in the room. Her every step is measured, her every gesture calculated. To the outside world, she is the picture of perfection, a symbol of elegance and poise. But beneath the surface, a hidden struggle rages quietly within her. Each month, her body is not just a part of her own experience, it's a political instrument. Her menstrual cycle, a natural bodily function, is scrutinized and controlled by those around her. It is not private, it is public knowledge. Her health, her fertility, and her every discomfort are matters of state, monitored by physicians and relayed to the court. Behind that regal facade, she carries the weight of not just her crown, but a burden that no one else can see, a burden that defines her, limits her, and holds her captive. In royal households of the 17th and 18th centuries, a woman's body was never her own. It was an instrument of state, tied directly to the future of dynasties and the power of nations. A queen's health, fertility, and even her menstrual cycle were watched closely by palace physicians, courtiers, and diplomats. These private matters, deemed natural and personal, were political affairs. Every delay in her cycle became a cause for anxiety, every sign of pregnancy celebrated or feared, depending on the situation. Royal women were often married off to secure alliances, strengthen monarchies, and ensure the survival of their family line. The very timing of these marriages and the hopes for future heirs were influenced by the biological clock of the queen. A missed cycle or irregularity could trigger widespread panic among the court as it directly impacted the stability of the realm. These women were not just expected to be mothers, they were the vessels of a kingdom's future. In some courts, the king's advisors would even demand reports on the queen's cycle, with documents crafted to share this sensitive information in coded language. The tension was palpable. The queen's most intimate biological functions were linked to everything, from political strategies to national security. She became both the bearer of hope and a target for political pressures that invaded every aspect of her personal life. Beneath the grandeur and layers of silk, the personal struggles of royal women remained hidden, often buried beneath the weight of societal expectations. Each royal gown, with its intricate design and heavy fabric, was a symbol of elegance, yet it also symbolized the physical discomfort these women endured daily. The gowns themselves were architectural feats, towering skirts, corsets, and petticoats that created a perfect silhouette but trapped the queen within. For women already struggling with the natural rhythms of their bodies, such clothing made the most basic of tasks unbearable. Every month, these queens didn't just manage a menstrual cycle, they had to plan meticulously to avoid embarrassing accidents or leaks during public appearances. A single stain could not only ruin a gown, but it could spark rumors about pregnancy, miscarriage, or even infertility. There was no room for error. The burden of managing menstruation was not just physical, it was a matter of reputation, honor, and political stability. Discretion was key. To maintain their dignity, royal women relied on trusted attendants who helped them navigate the process of changing the cloths worn for absorption. These changes were often required in secret, conducted behind closed doors with the utmost privacy. The most intimate part of their lives became a public duty, and their private discomforts became a matter of political consequence. Yet, even in the midst of this constant struggle, these women could not afford to falter. No matter the exhaustion, the cramps, or the emotional toll, they were expected to keep smiling. Their every move, every glance was scrutinized by the court. For the queen, personal pain was something to be silently endured. To express it would expose her vulnerabilities, and in a court built on power and image, that could be her undoing. The royal body, once a symbol of power and grace, became a prison where even the most natural human experiences were dictated by a higher power. The pressure on royal women to maintain an impeccable public image was overwhelming. To the court and the kingdom, a queen's appearance was more than just a reflection of her beauty, it was a symbol of her power, strength, and control. In a world where every gaze was scrutinized, every gesture observed, these women had to uphold the illusion of perfection, no matter the personal cost. Public appearances were meticulously planned, with every detail of their attire, behavior, and even emotions carefully controlled. A queen who showed signs of weakness, whether physical or emotional, risked appearing vulnerable, something that could tarnish her reputation and, by extension, that of her entire family. Behind the grand gowns, the radiant smiles, and the graceful gestures, these women carried the invisible weight of expectation. At court, where political alliances and royal marriages hinged on the queen's ability to produce heirs, no sign of discomfort was allowed. During ceremonies, when even a slight adjustment could reveal the slightest disturbance, the queen's body had to remain composed, still, and flawless. She could not afford to show her pain. Yet beneath the layers of velvet and lace, discomfort was inevitable. The physical toll of her body, coupled with the emotional strain of hiding her most intimate struggles, created an unbearable dichotomy. In this world of power, grace, and spectacle, there was no room for imperfection. The queen's private battles with her body were a silent war, one she could never openly acknowledge. In the royal courts of the past, medical treatments for menstruation or fertility were often invasive, crude, and sometimes deadly. Women, especially queens, were at the mercy of physicians who, despite their authority, lacked the knowledge and tools to provide effective care. Instead of offering relief, many treatments were designed to correct perceived deficiencies in a woman's body, leading to physical harm and long-term consequences. For instance, mercury-based tonics were commonly used in the belief that they could stimulate fertility or cleanse the body, but in reality, they poisoned the nervous system and internal organs. Queens and princesses who underwent these treatments were often left with symptoms that could be mistaken for other conditions, such as fatigue, mood swings, or tremors, all signs of mercury poisoning. Yet the physicians continued administering these remedies, convinced they were aiding in the royal women's reproductive health. Similarly, bloodletting was frequently used to balance the body's humors with the idea that draining blood could restore health. Even during menstruation, women were subjected to this painful procedure, often leaving them weak, pale, and susceptible to infection.
These treatments, performed with unsanitary instruments, did far more harm than good, contributing to the premature deaths of several royal figures. Princess Charlotte of Wales, for example, suffered from such treatments and died prematurely in 1817, likely as a result of the continuous and invasive medical procedures she endured. The invasive nature of these practices not only harmed the women physically but also emotionally. Queens were treated as though their bodies were not their own, subjected to examinations and remedies that often ignored their dignity and personal autonomy. Physicians frequently performed internal examinations to determine fertility, using painful and invasive methods that caused discomfort, sometimes leading to infections. The emotional trauma was significant, as these women were reduced to nothing more than vessels of reproduction, with little regard for their well-being.
The lives of these royal women were defined not just by the crown they wore, but by the silent burdens they carried. Beneath the silk and velvet, behind the gleaming smiles, they endured personal struggles that the court could never see. Their bodies were not their own. They were subjects to be monitored, examined, and controlled. The very essence of their womanhood became a political tool, exploited to preserve dynasties and secure the future of their nations. Yet despite the constant scrutiny, the painful treatments, and the societal pressure, these women displayed an unimaginable strength. They carried on with grace, maintaining their composure in a world that demanded perfection. Their struggles, invisible to the public, were often the very foundation of their kingdoms. Today, we look back at these royal women not just as figures of historical grandeur, but as symbols of resilience. Their quiet endurance under pressure serves as a reminder of the power of silence and the often invisible strength that women have had to display throughout history. The burdens they bore shaped their empires, yet their pain remains a silent echo in the corridors of history, an enduring testament to their quiet, unwavering strength.